How old was your son?
My son was 23. It was a week after he would have turned 24. And he was a happy-go-lucky sort of young kid. He'd always help people. He saved 2 people's lives when he was only 14.
How did that
He
happen?
saved a guy that was overdosed himself. My son got him out of the toilet at the train station, got him out, put him in a taxi and got him to hospital.
Wow.
On the second occasion he was walking with a guy who was intoxicated. The guy fell on the road, cars was coming, my son grabbed him and pulled him off the road. And the people came back and told me what my son done.
Pretty proud of
And
your
I was
son.
proud of my son. And so was the family of the people that he helped. They were all proud of my son for what he done. And then for him to lose his own life like that in that circumstance, we just can't believe it.
Now, can you tell me and tell people watching what evidence was not included in that trial which should have been included, which legally should have been included? What reports?
The one that I got information about was a phone call. It wasn't played in court to the jury.
Who was the phone call to? What was
The woman said she made a phone call to her friends. No, to the police that we stabbed. And that wasn't played in court.
Were they under the influence of anything when they committed this crime?
Well, I asked the police at that time, were the people under the influence of any drugs or alcohol? They said no.
It's pretty strange to commit.
It's pretty strange to commit a crime, to go into town looking for somebody who's not there, waiting for somebody who's not there. And if no one was there, why wouldn't they just leave and go home?
And you also said that he went out to buy a knife.
He said he went out. He said he bought a knife at the markets in Wanneroo early in the day.
So seems like there might be intent.
There was intent to go do something on that night, and the police did not ask him the questions that should have been asked. They should have searched the woman's handbag. They should have searched the woman. They should have questioned the woman and said, "We're charging you too, both of you." But they did not charge him. And then they charged one of them, the bloke, and then he made a story up and said that he admitted it of buying the knife. He made the story up about him, carrying the knife. Because he made the story up that he please wanted to charge his woman, but he said he done it. And he made the story up, so his wife didn't get charged.
Yeah, that's what Lynette said as well. That he said, "I will say, I will confess as long as you keep my wife out of it," which that shouldn't actually be allowed.
No, the police should have said, "Well, mate, we're dealing with a serious crime here.
Murder.
It's not a joke. So we either charge you or we charge the both of you." Because they didn't press him hard enough to make one of them confess who done it. Because there's no way in the world that he described how he done it in court to my son. There's no way in the world he would do that to my son. And what he done is he got my son without my son knowing. Unexpected. My son was a big boy. He was 6'3", and he was about 95 kilos. So he was
not
a big
a pushover.
Boy. He was no pushover, no. And he'd always, when he knew, if he didn't know the bloke, he wouldn't talk to a bloke. He wouldn't talk to him. He wouldn't talk to him. He would just, walk on and walk away. They showed him on the video walking ahead of everybody. So he had no intentions of stopping to talk to anyone. He just wanted to get home.
Was the medical report included in
The medical report was brought up by Dr. Wright. She gave all her evidence. She stated clearly to the jury, to the judge, to the DPP, that it was a knife, a sharp object.
Were they defensive? Like wounds and things, you know? Was there?
There was only one wound.
So it was
straight to the heart. One wound, and the doctor said that it was caused by a knife. A sharp object, pointy object, and it was a knife. And that was her words to the jury, to the judge, and to the defensive lawyer.
Did the individual who committed the crime, did he have any injuries?
He had no injuries whatsoever. He said he had a hit on the back of the head, and he said that the guy hit him, and he had my son's two arms, and he fell on my son. And then in the next breath he said that one of the cousins could have stabbed him. And I said to the DPP, "You heard him say that?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, why didn't you defend him? Why didn't you get up and say something?" But he never.
You said earlier that the prosecutor, you met with him and spoke with him, and he even, would you like to share what he said about this person's guilt or innocence?
He just said the guy, when we met the guy, when I met him after the trial, I said to him, "Why wouldn't you question this bloke hard like his lawyer did?"